All right, guys, as we like to do every single patch here, we like to talk about the best and the worst from the most recent patches. It's patch 7.1, which was a long patch, over 3 hours here, but finally was able to get the job done. So we're going to go through some things that are good, some things that we like, some things that we did not like here. We're going to dive right into it. One of the first things for me to actually really like that they've done so far is, and this might be more of an objective thing, or subjective thing for me here, is that I really like the Cosmic Crucible store. One of my biggest frustrations right now is just not being able to get the most important resources that I need for my roster as it pertains to being able to get my characters to gear tier 17. So they've increased the slot amounts that you have currently right now in the Cosmic Crucible store to be able to get your G17 gear. So as you can see here, I'm taking advantage of it already. Got my 82nd piece, got my 56 piece here of this, which means that I'm one step closer to being able to finally get She-Hulk done, and then also being able to get Scarlet Witch done, so I can go ahead and get those nice looking costumes. And I think overall this is a nice little addition that they've done in the store, and I think a lot of players definitely do appreciate. Now, they did originally, I think, said it was like 3 new slots, but it was only like 2 slots. I might have read that wrong, but either way, this is actually a very new change, and I definitely do like here. Now, one thing that I like as well that they did, but they did fix it, was if you jumped in right when the patch happened, when the patch went live here, the incursion invaders thing here, this was live. So for, if you didn't have the characters at 5 stars, and at gear tier 15, you were still able to do the hardest challenge of the invaders incursion, which, listen, I'll take advantage of it, right? Because listen, they definitely do a lot of things a lot of the time that ultimately screw players over. And this is one of those mistakes where I'm like, you know what, boo-boo, I don't care this time. I am going to go ahead and grab and get my ISO Blue 5. Now, the one bad thing about it is that they fixed it fairly quickly, which is a lot of frustration for a lot of players, because it's just like, bro, you always fix the things that really benefit the players, right? I think this would have been a nice little bone on that they could have thrown at the players if they had just left it. But this initially not working as it was supposed to was definitely in the favor of the players. Now, let's talk about some other quality of life things here that happen in the game that are pretty good too. And somebody pointed this out to me. So this raid battle thing. So I actually just joined my gamma raids here. I had to finish up my last attacks here on my Doom raids, but for the gamma raids right here, you can now see, as an alliance leader, you can now see who has not joined raids, and it say here, no join raids and no rewards. I'm not calling anybody out, but although I'm just saying, what the hell's going on with you guys? No, but seriously, this is a good little nice quality of life feature for a lot of alliance members. And it was already mentioned here, you know, in my stream. I'm doing this video live on stream here, that they were like, yo, bro, I actually really like this feature. It's good as an alliance leader to be able to have something like this. So I think this is a good, nice little change here, being able to kind of see who's there, ping them. It also might call some members out too. I'm not sure if players would feel great about that aspect of it, but from a leadership perspective, it's actually very much a good thing there. Now, this was also brought up to me as well. So we already had an orb sort of all opening feature, but they did finally add it to now where you're able to have all 3 of these positioned, right? So before it was, hey, you could open all of the orbs, but then you lost the opening up 10 times and then the singular option. But now they have it to where all 3 of these are available, so you can kind of toggle back and forth between which one you want to do. So what if you want to come in here and you only want to open up 10 of these orbs or 30 of these orbs, but you have 70 of them? You now don't have to go all singular or all. You can now just kind of get, let's go 10 a couple times. Once again, it's a nice little quality of life feature that I think is good that they've added into the game. Anything that kind of improves just quality of life in general, I'm always pretty heavy on and for, because I think it just kind of makes it easy the game a little bit better. Speaking of also the orbs, another thing too in the store that I do like is for some of your character farms, right? So if you're going into your store, like let's say your raid store, and you already have a character already at max shards, it's now grayed out, and it also says max on it as well. This may not seem like a big deal to you, but honestly, guys, I clicked on Nico the other day with 1400 on Nico for 5 shards because it was just like, oh, she's there. I don't think I have her at 7 stars, but I already had her at 7 stars. So knowing and being able to visually see that, okay, the character is already maxed out, it actually makes it a little bit, once again, that's the quality of life improvement thing here that I think it was a good that they decided to go ahead and do. Now, there's a couple other things that I wanted to talk about here. There's this avatar thing now where you can actually go in. Nope, that's the wrong thing. Where you can actually go in and change your frame. So as you can see, I've already gone back to the blue frame here, but you can toggle through and change your frame. For some of these characters, though, you're not able to. They're locked. Which for I don't know exactly why it says something like King, the Conqueror, Aphelion. So we're not entirely sure what that means. Get the character to gear tier 5. Like the character is definitely at gear tier 5. I guess I don't have Aphelion, so we have to figure out exactly what that means. So for some of these characters, it's unavailable. But I know that it's kind of nice to be able to kind of toggle through and pick which sort of frame you want. I'm currently right now rocking with this frame, and I'm liking it. I feel like it kind of trolls a little bit here. It's just kind of fun and silly to do. So therefore, it's something that I thought was a good little positive thing here for this patch. What was actually mentioned in the patch notes here, another thing about Cosmic Crucible, which is this replay feature that's going to be added. So it actually went live, I think, last patch, and then they took it away. But now they mentioned that the Cosmic Crucible replay button was not functioning properly on the attack judgment screen. So this is going to be coming back here in tomorrow's Strike Force. So we're going to have to see, because the new tournament starts on Friday. So we're going to have to see what that looks like then. But I think it's good that we're finally getting this replay button. I am still hoping that we're going to get a practice mode at some point, although I think a lot of players are a little iffy on whether or not they actually do want a practice mode in the Cosmic Crucible. But I don't know. I think it's good to be able to practice against some of these hybrid weird teams that you kind of do see. I think it will probably breed a little bit more competition, a little bit, but I could also see as well the other side of it, where it's like, oh, I want to be able to try new things and throw my opponent off guard, especially with the fact that there's already the shadow thing they're going on there too, right? Where you can't see what points they have. It forces you to be a little bit more strategic. So I kind of see both sides of it. If you don't want to practice mode, but it is something that they did mention. So it's also kind of a thing where it's like, when are you going to address, something that you said that you're going to bring in? Where is it currently right now? So that is one of the things, that's kind of one of the last things I wanted to talk about here. I do want to talk about some costumes, because as usual, I always like to go over costumes here. There is one that I do like, although I'm not entirely excited about the character, but there is one costume that I do like here, and this is little Thor Love and Thunder Ravager costume, I think is what they call it here, right? So it says it right there, Ravager. I like this costume. I think it's kind of cool. It just reminds me of the scene in the movie where he's actually splitting his legs and pushing whatever the ships, some crap that he was pushing there. It's kind of a cool costume. But one thing I will say is there is one costume that I absolutely despise. We're gonna step into the bad now. I do not like this costume whatsoever. This one here on Nick Fury, he's a Skrull. This is not Nick Fury. I have zero desire for this. I would have preferred if they had just gone with when I heard Skrull costume, I'm thinking, all right, maybe it's a costume that's talking about the Skrull invasion, and you're gonna see him in like how he looks in the MCU with the hat on and the red sweater. No, we got this instead. I don't like this at all. But one of the bad things that really sticks out to me in this patch is this new Knowhere team that we're getting. Now, I know some players are really excited for Nova, and to be honest with you, I am definitely excited for Nova as well. But this new Knowhere team, right, with Nova, Cosmo, Korg, you have Star-Lord Annihilation, Thor Infinity War. Like, two things really bother me about this team, and it's the simple fact that they're bringing in two characters that, or at least maybe one character in particular, and I just kind of feel like they didn't need to go in this direction, if you ask me, right? Nobody needed Star-Lord Annihilation. You already had a Star-Lord character in the game, and you could have just reworked that Star-Lord character. So they chose to go in the direction of, we just want to get the money for this newer character, which I can understand from a business perspective, but from the aspect of just like, this Star-Lord character has been in the games for how long, almost since the inception of the game here. He's a legendary character. You could have just reworked him to being a better character, giving them a costume, whatever, right? And you could have gone in that direction. Instead, it chose to just bring in an entirely new character, which I think is just trash. If you ask me, you could have just reworked some of the Guardians and threw them on this team. Maybe got two Guardians characters, reworked them, threw them on this team. I think would have been a better direction to go in. You're creating, once again, this cookie cutter meta, which I don't know if you guys have seen the footage as of yet, but this Knowhere team is insane. They are insanely OP. I think Dorky Dad has a video of them, gear tier 12, like just completely beating up on, was it Gamma? I'm hoping I'm not misspeaking there, but why do they need to be so strong? Another cookie cutter meta that you're bringing into Marvel Strike Force, that you're gonna have to create another team that's OP to be able to beat that team. So then it just continues, this compounds this cookie cutter meta all over again, if you ask me. So I don't know. Either way, this team is very strong. I could be wrong about that matchup that I saw, but just from physically testing the team myself, I will tell you that they are very strong in Alliance War. Now, granted, it was practice mode, but they were still very, very, very strong and almost way too OP, if you ask me. But once again, I just, like I said, I would have preferred some reworks here. I think that that's the direction. And Thor Infinity War just doesn't make any sense to me at all. Why is he a part of this team? I don't get it either. Once again, I would have preferred just a costume and maybe throwing a tag on Thor because he was already in the movie. This whole new character thing, yeah, all right, guys, so that's pretty much it for me. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are as it pertains to this patch here. We could have talked about the ISO campaign as well, the 240 cost on the new campaign. That's going to be pretty expensive here. I'm hoping that the drop rates are going to be better where that's concerned. Them fixing the incursions after they went wrong, probably also a little bit of a frustration point too. But at the same time, that was probably most likely expected here. What else did you not like from this patch? What do you like from this patch? Leave it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you guys where that is concerned. Hit the notification bell, guys, so you know when the videos will go live. Leave a like as well. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until next time, guys, and as always, I'll be blessed. I'll be safe. Bye.